With every game, some things just don't make the cut. Sometimes time restraints means not everything can be added, licensing issues get in the way, or the reason can remain unknown to this day. Test Drive Unlimited is no exception, but it doesn't just end with cut content. Over time, online servers for games get closed down too, things get delisted from online storefronts, and after time, storefronts for obsolete consoles shut down altogether. This can sometimes lead to content, or even entire games, becoming lost to time. In this video, we'll be looking into the cars that have been lost to time in Test Drive Unlimited, as well as the cars that didn't make the cut for one reason or another. Before we get into this, please like, comment and subscribe. I have lots of things I want to cover about Test Drive and other games, so any form of support means a lot. Throughout its lifespan, Test Drive Unlimited had 52 additional cars added as DLC, along with 2 additional bikes. These were released over time on the Xbox 360 as DLC packs, with some cars being paid content and others being free. However, one pack, known as Volume 6, featured 6 cars and a bike that were never ported over to the PC. Every other car was available in the Mega Pack, which adds every DLC car, paid and free, to the PC version of the game, excluding the aforementioned Volume 6. Due to this game's DLC becoming delisted from Xbox Live, the only way you'd be able to drive any of these cars is if you have the DLC already downloaded onto your Xbox console. All the footage you see here, excluding one car, is from a video by MS Motorsport. He has many lost content videos on his channel, so it's definitely worth checking out. I'll link his channel in the description below. The first car of this pack is the Audi A4 Touring car. It is modelled on the DTM race car and is an A-class vehicle with very high stats, including a perfect handling stat and a hefty $750,000 price tag. It features a 4-litre racing V8 producing 460 bhp and is the only Audi in the game with rear-wheel drive. The second car is the Cadillac 16, a concept car from 2003 which got its name due to having a huge 13.6-litre 16-cylinder engine producing 1000 brake horsepower, which makes it the most powerful stock car in vanilla Test Drive Unlimited. It is a D-class vehicle that costs $770,000. The third car is the Ferrari Dino 246 GTS. This is a Targa roofed version of the hardtop GT from DLC Volume 3. It has identical stats to the GT, however costs an additional $5,000 over the hardtop, costing $50,000 total. The fourth car is the Pontiac Solstice, an F-Class convertible built on the same platform as the Saturn Sky. However, the Solstice's stats are lacking in comparison, having a lower top speed and slightly slower 0 to 60 time, albeit better braking over the Saturn. It costs $23,000, the same price as the Saturn Sky. The fifth car is the Lamborghini Diablo GT, a B-Class supercar costing $300,000. Its 6-litre V12 makes 575 bhp and has a top speed of 210 miles an hour. It was a track-focused Diablo, of which only 80 examples of the GT were produced, and they were all exclusive to the European market. The sixth and final exclusive car was the Nissan 350Z Roadster. This is an E-Class car with similar specs to the coupe variant already in the game, with slightly reduced acceleration but an improved handling stat, costing $900 more than the coupe. Sadly, none of the Nismo body kit options were available for this car. There was also an exclusive bike in the mix, the Triumph Daytona 995i. This was an MA class motorbike from the late 90s, featuring a 1-litre 3-cylinder producing 147 bhp, and giving the bike a top speed of 161 miles an hour. This would have been the only Triumph in the game that was in MA class, since the only other bike, the Triumph Speed Triple, was in MB class. Various vehicles are referenced in the game's files in the Windows version, including unused slots for the Xbox 360's exclusive Volume 6 pack, as well as various other models which were never released. Some cars were more complete than others though, with some ending up being nothing more than leftover text strings. The first 3 cars, while cut from the Xbox and PC versions of the game, did make their way over to the PS2 and PSP versions of the game in one form or another. The first of these is the AC427. This is a 2-seater, lightweight sports car featuring a big American V8, making 410 bhp from its 7-litre engine. The car did go on to appear in the PlayStation versions of the game, as a prize car for reaching the Pro rank. It also appears in Test Drive Unlimited 2, and will be featuring in the upcoming game Test Drive Solar Crown. The second car is the Brabus B55S, which while not appearing in the Xbox and PC versions of the game, was in the PlayStation versions, albeit without the Brabus name. It was a tuned version of the Mercedes SLK 55 AMG, which offered increased performance. There was also another variant, the Brabus 61S, which was another tuning package that was a step higher than the B55S, boosting power and displacement even more. In-game, the Brabus 61S was referred to as the Mercedes-Benz SLK 6.1S capacity increase, very snappy title. The B55S produced 390 bhp, 30 more than standard, while the 61S made 445 bhp. Both of these cars were only obtainable through the tuning shop, much like the Celine Mustangs from the Xbox and PC versions of the game. The next three cars are the most complete versions of the remaining cut cars, with there actually being near complete versions of these cars present in a pre-release build of the game. All these cars had functional sounds, gauges and complete LODs. The first of which is the Mazda RX-8, a four-door saloon car featuring a 1.3 litre twin-rotor Wankel engine, producing over 230 bhp in its most powerful variant. I would guess that this car would have been most likely an E-Class car, similar to the Nissan 350Z already in the game. This car was reinstated in the Platinum mod, albeit using the later R3 model. There was also a Mazda MX-5 NC, the third generation of Mazda's iconic MX-5 sports car. This car features either a 1.8 or 2 litre 4-cylinder, the latter producing 167 bhp. I believe this would have been an F-Class car, similar to the Saturn Sky. This car was fully reinstated in the Platinum mod, using the correct early Mark III model and not a later facelifted model. The third cut car that was almost complete was the Weissman GT, a coupe version of the MF3 that's already in the game. This car features a V8 as opposed to the MF3's straight 6, and was intended to be less of a sports car and more of a GT car. It produced 367 bhp from its 4.8 litre engine, giving the car a top speed of 181 miles an hour. I believe that it would have been a class higher than the MF3, being a C-Class vehicle. This vehicle was reinstated in the Platinum mod, using the later MF5 model. It can be obtained by tuning the standard MF3. The next cars are ones which weren't finished, but preview images from an early build of the game still remain. The first car is the Chevrolet Cobalt SS, a front-wheel drive coupe with a 2 litre supercharged 4-cylinder making 205 bhp with a top speed of 143 miles per hour. This car would most likely have been an F-Class car and a potential starter car from the Chevrolet dealer in Honolulu. The next car on this list is a Chevrolet Corvette C2, the second generation of the Corvettes and the first to receive the Stingray nameplate. All we know about this car is that it would have been the original 1963 car, which were only available with the 327 cubic inch V8, which made between 250 and 360 bhp, the latter if the Rochester fuel injection was specified. This car, like all classic muscle cars in the game, would have been a G-Class car, and most likely sold at the classic muscle car dealership in Honolulu. This car has been reinstated in the Platinum mod, featuring the later 427 cubic inch V8, meaning every generation of Corvette, from the C1 Blue Flame straight 6 car to the C7 Stingray are all featured. The next cars are the Hummer H1, H2 and H3. The H1 is a civilian version of the Humvee military vehicle, featuring a 5.7 litre Chevy small block V8 in early cars, and a choice of diesel V8s ranging from 6.2 to 6.6 litres in later cars, and a choice of 3, 4 or 5 speed automatic transmissions. The H2 is based on the same architecture as the Chevrolet Tahoe and Cadillac Escalade. Early cars had a 6 litre V8, which this car would have had in game due to the 6.2 not coming out until after the game's release. The H3 was Hummer's take on a compact SUV, using the Chevrolet Colorado platform and sporting a 3.5 litre 5-cylinder producing 220 bhp. All these cars I believe would have been in F-Class due to their weight compared to the other cars in-game having slowed them down considerably. I believe these cars were cut due to there being no other SUVs in the game, rendering these cars unnecessary. They would not have been competitive in races and would have most likely been overpriced given their performance, meaning they would have been a waste of money and served no real purpose. The H3 would make a return in Test Drive Limited 2 thanks to the introduction of SUVs and off-roading. The last cars here are all cars that don't have any known images left of them, meaning they are most likely cut early in the game's development or abandoned DLC cars. The first car on this list is the Audi A3 V6N. Now, I'm at a loss about what this car would exactly be or even look like, since there is already an Audi A3 V6 in the game. My only speculation is that this would either be a tuned version of the Audi A3, or maybe a pre-reserved slot for a sponsored car, much like the Pringles Nissan Juke from Forza Horizon 2. The next car on this list is the Chevrolet Corvette C6 Show and Go. At first, I wasn't too sure what this car was, only really finding foldaway number plate mounts for Corvettes. Instead I found a 2004 SEMA show car. An article published in 2004 by Car and Driver states that it features modified production seats, short shifter, carbon fibre bonnet, door mirrors, side skirts and rear wing, and machine cylinder heads, giving the LS2 V8 425 bhp, 25 more than standard. It also features modified Z51 suspension with heavier rate springs, larger diameter anti-roll bars, adjustable shocks, and higher rate bushings. Not much more is known about this car, and these two images you see are the only two photos I can find of this vehicle. I assume that this car would have been a special tune of the Corvette C6 and it would most likely remain in Class C, like the standard C6, due to the small performance increase not really taking the C6's performance to the next level. Next on the cut list are 3 stages of Hennessy Viper, ranging from the 650R to the 1000 twin turbo. The Venom 1000 twin turbo, sometimes shortened to TT, is powered by an 8.5 litre V10 from a 2003 Viper that originally produced 493 bhp but has been modified to produce 1000 brake horsepower. The engine has been stroked from 8.3 to 8.55 litres and has also been equipped with twin Garrett turbochargers and a front mount air-to-air intercooler. This car also features Venom Aero body modifications, which includes a front air dam, rear diffuser and spoiler, 2-way adjustable coilover shock absorbers, Brembo upgraded braking system, adjustable traction control system, which is actually absent on the standard Vipers, a limited slip differential, Hennessy Venom 7R forged aluminium wheels, 19 inch at the front, 20 inch at the rear, and Michelin Pilot Sport 2 tyres. The car is said to do 0 to 60 in 3.25 seconds and have a top speed of 255 miles an hour, which would have made it one of the fastest cars in the game, alongside the Koenigsegg CCR, Chrysler Me 412 and Celine S7 twin turbo. Given its high performance, this car would definitely have been A-class. The next car is the Jaguar XKR convertible. Given that there was already a convertible version of the second generation Jaguar XK, also known as the X150, this would have been based on the first generation car, the X100, of which the coupe version already exists in the game. This would definitely have been in the same class as the XKR Coupe, D-Class, and performance-wise would most likely have been around the same as the coupe, but with slightly dampened acceleration and handling stats due to most convertibles being heavier than their coupe counterparts. Next on the cut list is the Lexus ISF, a performance variant of the IS350, which is available as free DLC content on the Xbox 360 and as part of the Mega Pack for PC. The ISF swaps out the 306 bhp 3.5 litre V6 from the IS350 for a 416 bhp 5 litre V8, mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox, giving the car a 0 to 60 of 4.3 seconds and a top speed limited to 170 miles per hour. This car would have most likely been in the D-Class performance group. If you want to drive the ISF and Test Drive Unlimited, it does appear in the Platinum mod, purchasable at the Lexus Toyota dealership at the top of the map. Another car that's available in the Platinum mod, but cut from the main game, is the Maserati Gran Turismo. This is a successor to the Maserati Gran Sport, being built on the same platform as the Alfa Romeo 8C, a car that already exists in Test Drive Unlimited. The early Gran Turismos featured a 4.2 litre V8 producing 400 brake horsepower, with a 0 to 60 of 4.9 seconds and a top speed of 177 miles per hour. This car would have most likely been D-Class, given its performance being a small increase over the Gran Sport, but not close enough to the Alfa Romeo 8C to warrant it moving up to the next class. The final cut car is the Pontiac GTO Judge. The Judge is a special package available for the GTO, which included a Ram Air 400 engine, which is a 6.6 litre V8 producing 370 bhp, Rally 2 wheels without trim rings, a Hurst shifter with its unique T-shaped handle, wider tyres, various decals and a rear spoiler. Pontiac claimed that the spoiler had some functional effects at higher speeds, producing a small but measurable amount of downforce, but it was of little value at legal speeds. This car would definitely have been Class G, being a classic vehicle. This car does appear in TDU Platinum and is purchasable from the classic muscle car dealership at the top of the map. So that was the story of Test Drive Unlimited's lost content and cut cars. If you would like to find out more about the cars mentioned, I have linked everything down below. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next video.